Have you ever opened your lab's glassware cabinet and been totally overwhelmed by the options? Fear not, in this video we'll be going through the different types of glassware you're likely to encounter in a biology lab. Let me start by saying that glass is just the best. It's durable, it's reusable, it's washable, it's sterilizable, and it's relatively inert, meaning that it won't undergo some violent chemical reaction when it comes into contact with most substances. So that's why we are really big fans of using it in a laboratory setting. It was really hard for me to pick which type of glassware to show you first because they're all my favorite. But I settled on a classic, the beaker. I use beakers every day. They're so handy for mixing and heating solutions. Look at that mixing happening, oh my goodness. And they have a little spout to make pouring easier. Pouring! They come in every size you can imagine. We've got big chunky beakers, this one can hold up to 2 liters, a whole range of medium-sized beakers, and down to the cutest, tiniest, littlest beaker you've ever seen. Aww. And who doesn't love a good bottle? They come with screw-on lids to prevent contamination from falling in and liquid from evaporating out. So we use bottles for sterilizing solutions in the autoclave and storing them. And while they do come in a range of sizes, I have yet to see a bottle as tiny as that cute little beaker. Let's also take a moment to appreciate the flask. They have a wide body and a thin neck, and that lets us mix around solutions without worrying about them sloshing out the top. As a biologist, I'm an especially big fan of the Erlenmeyer flask. It has a flat bottom, so it's great for heating and stirring solutions, and also for growing bacterial cultures. We need to shake cultures at 200 RPM to maintain air and nutrient circulation, and we definitely want to use glassware that will minimize sloshing when bacteria are involved. Baffled Erlenmeyer flasks aren't confused about what day of the week it is. They just have these little indents at the bottom that make them especially good for bacterial cultures. They increase the turbulence and facilitate gas exchange and prevent bacterial clumps from forming. If you need to close your Erlenmeyer flasks, you can use a rubber stopper to create a tight seal, or you can fashion a looser fitting lid out of some tin foil. And we can't forget the small but mighty test tube. Test tubes are great for growing low volume bacterial cultures, mixing and heating small solution batches, mix, swirl, and working with multiple samples at once. Now, all of these glassware types have something in common. They shouldn't be used for precise volume measurements because they aren't super accurate. Their markings can be off by as much as 5%, and sometimes they don't even have markings at all. We won't hold it against them though. We still love them and think they're very useful. They just weren't made for measuring. If you need quantitative glassware or glassware that can be used for a precise measurement, look no further than the graduated cylinder. A graduated cylinder will get you a 99% accurate volume measurement. The surface of most liquids will form a concave meniscus in a cylinder, so be sure to read your measurement from the bottom of the meniscus for greatest accuracy. Graduated cylinders aren't great for mixing though. Say I'm making up 100 milliliters of a sodium chloride solution. I'd start with around 75 milliliters of water in a beaker. I'd then stir in the sodium chloride till it dissolves, and then pour it into my graduated cylinder. I'll then add more water until it reaches 100 milliliters. Then I'll transfer it into a bottle for autoclaving and storage. In this way, graduated cylinders are generally used transiently for measuring and transfer. For accurate measurement and transfer of smaller volumes, you can use a graduated pipette. You just need to attach a rubber bulb or an electronic pipette controller to suck up and dispense the liquid. This one is actually plastic. Shh, just pretend it's glass. They make them in glass too. I just couldn't find one in time for the video. Another handy piece of glassware for transferring reagents is the funnel. Narrow-stemmed funnels are useful for liquids, and wide-stemmed funnels are great for solids. Yay! Anything that makes lab work a little less messy is a win in my book. And lastly, your lab will probably have some random piece of super specific glassware that you only use for one thing. Like my lab has this glass box. We use it for one step of one experiment we do, but it's the perfect shape and size for what we need. Your lab might even have custom-made glassware in elaborate shapes and sizes for complex experimentation. It's a wide and wonderful world of laboratory glass out there, and we've only just scratched the surface. And I hope we didn't scratch any glass along the way. Oh boy, I'll see myself out.